Just where it was needed, gleaming black as night, cloistered in injustice, dead in the eye of time. Nobody is losing, faces merge and change, but your face remains the same. Swallows will be here by dawn. When we're finally sober, they'll be gone. The trees will bloom and ice will melt. We'll always remember how we felt.
A przecież, no właśnie, tylko ja też tam progresji, aż mi pomaga.
A significant life, just what it was needed. Clean in the blackest night,
Dzisiaj brony, gędy szampa.
cloistered in injustice dead, and in the eyes of time, nobody is losing.
Right, there is only so much I can put in subtitles, and I feel like I still have so much to say, so, I'm eating you up with talking heads. I just want to give a bit more context and details about where I've been, why I've not been publishing any videos. Frankly, the last 8 months have been harsh on me. Let's start with the big one that I have talked about before on this channel, especially in the last couple of videos. My body acne came back. So on my mainly on my shoulders and on my back. My face is fine, it's not perfect, but it is what it is. For those who don't know, I've suffered with acne ever since I was a teenager. I had really, really bad face acne, and I even went on Accutane, isotretinoin, if you know about it, back when I was around 15. It fixed my face as much as it can be fixed. I'm quite happy with it, but throughout my early 20s, gosh, early 20s, mate. I can't believe I'm 27, that's like late 20s, right? Fuck. But yeah, when I went to the UK, I started getting more body acne, especially my back. My back was quite rough, and so were my shoulders. So when I started my PhD and started getting some money from my research assistant role, I went on this rampage to try and fix my body acne. And I actually did it. It was a very expensive routine. It was a very convoluted routine, but I did it. I was using this spray on my back twice a day. I was washing with benzoyl peroxide twice a day, sending the maximum strength from America, because they don't have it here. Well, here, as in the UK, I'm in Portugal at the moment, but you get it. But yeah, for the first time in my life, I was acne-free, and it was amazing. It was worth everything. I felt so confident. I wasn't ashamed of my body anymore. And I think it was a major factor why I consider my PhD years from 21 to 25 to be some of the happiest years I've had in my life. I felt so good about myself. But then I got complacent. I was kind of tired of spending so much money. I was kind of tired of spending 30 minutes per shower applying creams and whatnot. And when I came to Southampton from my postdoc, I kind of let myself go in terms of that routine. I stopped doing it so often, and probably with stress from work contributing as well, my body acne came back. Obviously, I was petrified, but I was not panicking yet, because I was like, okay, fine, I'll just go back to the routine and it's gonna be fixed, right? It worked once, why won't it work again? I don't know, but it did not work again. So I went back to the exact same thing I was doing before, but this time around the acne just wouldn't go away. And slowly but surely, every single toxic behavior I had regarding my acne before came back. Especially at shower time. If you have acne, you know that after a shower your acne looks very angry. So I just took all the mirrors away as much as I could, and I was just like, don't look, don't look, don't look. And that ain't healthy, mate. Like, the fact that I couldn't look at my body, I was scared of looking at it, that is not healthy. But then, somehow, it got worse. So, I noticed this pimple on my chest that just wouldn't go away. Like, it was there for, let's say, 6 months at this point, and I was like, how are you still not going? It wasn't even scarring. It wasn't even a mark, Like, sometimes you get a big pimple and the mark stays there for ages and it doesn't go away. No, this was actively irritated for more than 6 months at this point. And I was like, what the hell are you? Strangely, I also noticed that it was getting bigger. And at that point, I started panicking, right? Like, you have a growing pimple that doesn't go away. Like, what are you? I remember I was at an IKEA restaurant having some delicious Swedish meatballs, and I remembered, all right, I need to deal with this. Like, I can't just let this grow forever, right? So I Google acne scar that keeps growing, and I was expecting it not to exist. Like, I was like, yeah, this is nothing, right? Like, this is just a pimple that's throwing a fit. It's gonna go away. But to my horror, it's actually a thing. It's called a keloid, for fuck's sake. I was like, what these? So I booked a consultation with my GP, and they basically told me that they don't do anything about them because they're purely cosmetic, right? They don't technically hurt your body. They just hurt your mental health, which I guess the NHS doesn't care that much about. So yeah, I decided to take matters into my own hands, and I ordered these steroid plasters from Japan that people apparently use to treat these things or to stop them from growing. I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try. I ordered these things from Japan. I start using them, and it shrinks it slightly, and it stops it from growing. So it's been at the same size for ever since I started, almost a year ago. and the itchiness went away. It doesn't look as angry. It's not perfect, but it's manageable. The bigger problem, though, was what it did to my mind, right? Because now I know these things exist. I know that my body is able to make them. Apparently, you have to be predisposed to make these things. And I still have acne on my shoulders and occasionally on my chest. So now, on top of being insecure about my acne and not liking the way it looks, every time I have a pimple on my chest, I'm panicking that it's gonna turn into another keloid. And after this point, it's just spiraling, right? Like I'm in the shower looking at my chest, I see a small dot of a pimple, barely a pimple at all, and it ruins my day because I'm like, oh yeah, fine, I'm just gonna have another one now. It's gonna be forever. I'm just gonna keep collecting these things. And so my behaviors to try and avoid the acne start being more severe. I even start feeling conscious about being touched by other people. I stop hugging my friends, especially at the gym. Even my girlfriend tries to cuddle me sometimes, and like I kind of wiggle away because I'm scared that any sort of touch is gonna trigger a pimple that's then gonna turn into a keloid. And yeah, it just ruined my mental health. I think for people that have never dealt with like persistent acne, don't really know how much it affects you, right? And to be clear, my back acne wasn't even that bad. They weren't like massive cysts. There were just lots of dots. You get people always telling, oh, for other people they don't care, you know, no one cares you have a pimple or two. But it doesn't really make a difference, right? Like you care, I care, and yeah. So I got to the point that I had to do something about it. The thing is, I had already tried so much for my acne. Like I went through several prescription meds from my GP, and at that point I was like, you know what? I want to go on Accutane again. For those who don't know, Accutane is isotretinoin, which is a very strong drug that has a shit ton of side effects, but usually clears acne, resistant acne quite well. But getting Accutane in the UK is really hard. You have to go through all of the other treatment options, sometimes multiple times. For example, you have to take, I think, 3 rounds of different antibiotics, oral antibiotics, and only if that doesn't work, you get referred to a public dermatologist, and the waiting lists can be quite long. I saw some experiences from people that were waiting like a year to be seen, and you know what? I was like, nah. This is not happening, like I cannot live a year like this. So I start looking at other options and I find this online clinic called Skin Doc. The reviews are amazing. By the way, I am not sponsored in any way, shape or form. I am still paying for my for everything on this. I have my consultation, it was phenomenal. Like I wrote down like a massive list of questions and concerns that I had, like, am I gonna be bald out of this? Is there a chance? And the dog was just so nice, like assuring me and saying he thinks he's a good fit and I'm not being irrational for going on Accutane. And yeah, it was just a really pleasant experience. He later prescribed me the medication and I started last month in June. I started on a fairly low dose to ease into it. I'm also in Portugal where the sun is quite bright at the moment and Accutane makes your skin sensitive, so you know, it's good to be on a low dose. And I honestly, I feel the best I've felt in ages now, in like a year now. I have no side effects other than dry lips. If it looks like my lips are full of water, is because they're full of lip balm. I haven't had a big inflamed pimple on me ever since I started, which to me is like night and day, right? Like I was counting new pimples every 2 days. Now I'm like, okay, I still have the marks, of course, they'll probably take a bit to go. I think it's so much easier to be on the, you know, a rough path if at least you know it's leading somewhere. Before I was trying all of these things and maybe they would work, maybe they wouldn't, and it was still so much effort and, you know, just hit the wall over and over again and they never worked. While now, even if it's a rough medication and it has side effects, at least I can be more certain that I will reach a better state at the end. And just that makes miracles for my mental health. I feel like I've already been talking for way too long, so I'm gonna make this second point shorter. The other aspect that's been negatively impacting me is how I'm performing at my job. I'm following the academia research route. You need to publish in hopes of making a name for yourself and then applying for grants, and with those grants you can support yourself and team members so you can work on your own research projects. Hopefully at some point you also get into a permanent position like a lectureship so that you don't have to be constantly worried that your contract is going to run out. Now, I started this role shortly before finishing my PhD, and it's going to be around 2 years now since I started. And in those 2 years, I haven't yet made a publication, which is bad. I would be willing to accept that if it was purely because I was being a lazy kid. My problem is, I feel like I have never worked so much in my life, and I still don't have publications. And that's the thing that really kills me, you know, because I feel like I'm putting so much effort and not really seeing what I should be seeing for this career path. In short, a big part of my job is basically acting as a software engineer for this project, and that makes it hard to produce research out of it. If you're familiar with the difference between, you know, practical software engineering and more theoretical research, obviously there's a crossover at the middle, but they're not the same thing. And the weird part is, like, I kind of love my job, you know? I love getting things to work for the project, you know? Like, other people didn't use the tools that I code, and they look at the data, and it's, when everything works, it's just an amazing feeling that you're enabling other people to do research. So to summarize, the problem is that the work that I do, even though it's good and I like it, it's not supporting the career path I'm on at the moment. And that clash really burns me out, right? Because after a day of work where part of me is saying, well done, this works really well, like fantastic, the other part of me is, damn it, this cannot go on a paper. Like, it's not a scientific discovery. And to add on to that, I have about a year left on my current contract, and my mind is already thinking, right? So when it gets to the end of this 1 year, when it gets to the end of this contract, if I do end up with no additional publications, who's gonna hire me for a research career going forward, right? Like, who's gonna look at this guy with 3 years of a postdoc with no publications and be like, I wanna hire you? It's gonna be complicated, right? So it's not just about the burnout I'm feeling right now, it's also the stress of what's gonna come after. But yeah, I've had a couple of talks with my line manager, who is an absolutely amazing person, and I love working with him. In fact, I love working with everyone on this team. It's like the best part of the job is how nice everyone is. But he's been super understanding, and we're making some compromises here and there so I can focus more on my own research and hopefully get some publications during this last year, which is tremendously gonna help me move forward. As someone who puts a lot of effort and their personal value into both their career and their appearance, having both of them shaken this hard at the same time can definitely have a big impact on you. I know it had on me. But yeah, as I said, I see a line going up, I see solutions to my problems, and I'm engaging with them, so hopefully things will be better moving forward.
I just wanna go out and walk with you. Baby, you know I just like to talk with you. You don't have to tell me anything that's new. I just wanna go out and walk with you. I just wanna see your shadow next to mine, sailing over pavement with our two elbows. I like to see the shape you're in from time to time. I just wanna see your shadow next to mine. I just wanna see the same things you can see, understand the meaning on a new degree. Maybe that could happen when you're next to me. I just wanna see the same